If you're a hardcore sports fanatic, you're in the right place. Nathan Weller is ready to dish out the hard-hitting sports talk that you love. We're talking everything from NFL and AFL to the NBA, NHL, and even cricket. This is the Real Deal Sports Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Real Deal Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Nathan, coming at you as I love to do. I have an exciting podcast for you guys today. Today, I will be doing my mock draft for the upcoming AFL Draft, going through who I think the top 25 picks will be and which teams will be taking them. We're obviously going to start with pick number 1, which is held by the Essendon Football Club. Now, I think Essendon are going to take a young man called Hugh McCluggage. McCluggage has been the future number 1 pick for a long time. Everyone's known it, I've known it, you've known it. This classy, silky midfielder has every trick in the book. He's ticked every box and he hasn't missed a beat this season. He has elite ball-winning ability, fantastic foot skills, coupled with efficiency up forward, which is what makes McCluggage a really special talent. McCluggage kicked 25 goals in 12 games this season, as well as averaging 27 disposals per game in the TAC Cup. There's no surprise if McCluggage gets called number 1, like there was no surprise when he was named the Morris Medal winner. So Essendon, you've got a great young talent coming to your club, surrounded by Heppel, Zach Merritt, Orazio Fantasia, so you've got a nice crop of young talent there, and yeah, McCluggage should fit in nicely when he gets picked by you guys. On to the second pick of the draft, which is held by Greater Western Sydney. If Essendon select McCluggage as everyone predicts them to and expects them to, you can expect the Giants to jump on Andrew McGrath here. They see McGrath as Heath Shaw's successor and filling Heath Shaw's role at halfback when he retires. McGrath is a smooth moving defender who's established himself as a leader, and he sort of like that quarterback role at halfback. It's sort of like the Luke Hodge mold. But yeah, he can be pushed up into the midfield as well, and he's established himself as one of the country's more talented prospects following an outstanding season in the half-back line. He's explosive, he's a line breaker, fantastic decision maker, and he stands up during the big games and stands up well up under pressure. McGrath averaged 32.3 disposals per game during the TAC Cup, and during the finals campaign, he averaged 24.3 disposals. So, yeah, good pick here. He could go number 1. Essendon could choose him, but I don't expect him to. And if you put McGrath in there with like Nathan Wilson, Zach Williams, Heath Shaw for a little bit, that's a damaging half-back line, and they're going to put some fear into some opposition. On to the third pick of the draft now, which is held by the Gold Coast Suns. Now, originally, this was Brisbane's pick. However, I predict them to make a bid for the academy player Jack Bowes, which the Gold Coast Suns will match. What type of player is Jack Bowes, though? He's a smart, classy, composed midfielder who can change the shape of a game, and he can influence the inside. He's a contested ball machine, not the outside running, contested in tight. He never wastes the footy when he's in space, though. He's really good at bringing others into the game, and it's easy for forwards to lead up to him because they know where he's going to kick it. He draws them to the footy. He didn't average a lot. He averaged 18.7 disposals and more than a goal a game, but he did highlight his ability to go forward and make an impact on the scoreboard. Gold Coast have a lot of young talent, and they haven't been able to keep him, but I don't know if Jack Bowes is going to make an immediate impact for the Suns here, but if they're as good as they say he is, he could. But he could also flounder a bit, be in and out of the team, and then he could want to leave. But who knows? But yeah, Jack Bowes to the Gold Coast Suns at pick number 3 here. The fourth pick of the draft is held by the Brisbane Lions. Now, after making their unsuccessful bid for Jack Bowes, they get pushed down to number 4 and Gold Coast come up to number 3. With pick 4, I predict them to take a young man called Ben Ainsworth. He's a small crumbing forward. Ainsworth significantly improved throughout the second half of the season, where he was pushed into the midfield, predominantly a small crumbing forward, sort of like a Zach Dane Zorko type, but not really. At 179 centimeters, Ainsworth is a dangerous matchup. especially when playing inside forward 50. He could break a game apart off his own boot. He kicked 18 goals in 9 games, pretty impressive. He also averaged 22 disposals in the TAC Cup. Many have said his game's a bit like Jamie Elliott, but I compare him more towards the Dane Zorko type. Can be a high disposal getter, but he can also go forward and kick you 2 or 3 goals a game. So, yep, good pick here for Brisbane, I reckon. There's a lot of work for Brisbane to do, and this guy's not going to change their fortunes straight off his own boot. Carlton have pick 5. At pick 5, I don't really know what Carlton are going to do. Yes, they need another defender and another forward. They don't really need midfielders, but I don't know what they're going to do. At pick 5, I would just go for the best player available. Best player, and that is Will Brodie. I would go Will Brodie. He'd be the best selection for Carlton. He would fit them nicely alongside Patrick Cripps. The midfielder does his best work under the pack. Yeah, I know Carlton have a lot of that and they need a bit more pace, but again, best player. He's a fantastic clearance player. He averaged 20 disposals per game during the TAC Cup. And as I said, if your team needs a strong midfielder to stand up during the games when it's tough and hard, Will Brodie's your man, so I have him going to Carlton at pick 5. Back over to the Gold Coast Suns, who hold pick 6. I've got Sam Petrevski-Seton. Sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. Petrevski-Seton could be a nice choice for the Suns at pick 6 here. The Western Australian is a clever midfielder who is lightning quick, and he's practically unstoppable to stop when he's up and going. He has the ability to win his own footy, and he is a prolific tackler and clearance player. Loves to run and chase and put the pressure on the opposition. His acceleration, evasiveness, and quick steps are all features of his game. He displays freakish ability at ground level, sort of like Cyril, but a bit green, so you can't expect him to have the same impact as Cyril does. He's very balanced, so he's not all just attacking, he can defend as well. And throughout the season, he managed to break into Claremont's senior team, where he averaged 23 disposals per game in the Colts. So again, sort of like the Cyril mold, but again, he's very green, so don't expect him to have the immediate impact like Cyril has. But yeah, good pick here for the Suns, I reckon. Bargain price for Petrevski-Seton. Over to West Australia now, where Fremantle come in with pick 7. I predict them to take Tim English. With Aaron Sandilands in the twilight of his career and an aging Jonathan Griffin, English is the obvious selection for Fremantle. However, I think they've just signed Zach Clark, or re-signed Zach Clark, back to their club, so they might not choose him, but I would still take him as a good project player, someone to come up through the ranks. He stands at 204 centimeters tall and weighs 86 kilos. However, English is very mobile and he has the agility of a midfielder. He can win his own footy and he's incredibly clean with his disposal, which Fremantle need. They have a lot of hard nuts, not a lot of clean disposal through there though. He played senior waffle footy for South Fremantle this year, where he averaged 15.8 disposals and 22.9 hitouts per game across 16 games. That's pretty good for a young ruckman. If he comes in and does that for Fremantle, I think they'd take that. I'd take that. It's pretty good. He will need to try and improve his overhead marking though. He's a big man, but needs to get those big jukes out in front, starts clunking the big marks, especially if he's going to go inside forward and help their young forward line out there. But Ting English will be wearing the purple, will be part of the Purple Eights for Fremantle next year, I think. Back over to the Gold Coast Suns, who hold pick 8. Now, you're going to hear a lot of the Gold Coast Suns early in this draft. With pick 8, I have them selecting Tim Taranto. Now, what kind of player is Taranto? Well, he's a contested bull, and he's also a proven threat when he's playing upside forward. He lacks a bit of pace, but he makes up for it with his ability to find his own footy, and he smarts around goal. During the TAC Cup, he averaged 27.1 disposals, and he also kicked 14 goals from 10 games. That would have been a greater total if it wasn't from inaccurate kicking in front of goal. He could improve that a bit, but that will come over time. They take practice set shots at training and whatnot. But yeah, good selection here for Gold Coast again. Who to compare him to, I'm not really sure, but yeah, good selection. Adds goal kicking, which is what they need, because They didn't really kick many goals during the season, in my opinion, but yeah, good selection for Gold Coast Suns here. The Sydney Swans hold pick 9. The Swans managed to catapult themselves up to pick 9 during the trade period. With pick 9, I've got them selecting Jared Berry. Berry has been touted as a natural-born leader, and he tested as one of the best at the National Combine. He proved himself to be an elite endurance athlete, erasing any doubts over his durability after his injury-plagued season. He's proven to be an ambidextrous talent playing across half-back and half-forward, but he also has the ability to be a big-body midfielder for the Swans. Berry averaged 16.8 disposals per game this year to go along with his 9 goals from 8 games. Now, if you add Berry to Sydney's young crop of talent, the likes of Heaney, Mills, Papley, Hewitt, that gives a great bunch of young talent there, and they're certainly going to give a lot of teams some headaches. So, Jared Berry, welcome to the Sydney Swans. Pick 10 is held by, yep, you guessed it, the Gold Coast Suns. Now, with their 4th pick inside the top 10, I've got the Gold Coast Suns selecting a young man called Jack Scrimshaw. At 194 centimeters tall, Jack's got a powerful left foot. Amazing kick, actually. He loves to influence a play, and he reads it extremely well. With his terrific evasive movement through the traffic and his damaging kicks, he can really break the game open. Yep, he can break the game open. He doesn't really have the size to play a big key defender, though. However, he might be able to improve his fitness and move into the midfield. Just rotations, so keeping their rotations up there. During the TAC Cup, Scrimshaw averaged 23.7 disposals. Not bad for a half-back flank slash midfielder if he decides to get rolled through there. Scrimshaw would be a great selection for the Suns, I reckon. Considering Nick Malcheski is just retired, he can just slide nicely in there and fill Malcheski's spot, playing like that quarterback off the half-back line. Bit young, but he'll be able to fill it. Scrimshaw will give him that run and dash off the half-back line, which they didn't really have this year. So, Jack Scrimshaw, he going to the Gold Coast. Pick 11 is held by the Greater Western Sydney Giants. Now, this was originally North Melbourne's pick. However, they will make a bid for Will Setterfield, which I'm assuming the Giants will match. What type of player is Setterfield? He's a contested ball-winning machine, and he uses his big body to assert himself on the contest. He's one of the more composed players. He doesn't really get rattled. He always remains composed when he's using the footy, and he lowers his eyes, finding targets inside the forward 50. However, during an injury-plagued season, Setterfield still managed to average 22.2 disposals per game. Setterfield's campaign came to a premature end, though, due to a knee injury. This talent is one to look out for. I reckon he could be a future Brownlow medalist, maybe, as some people have said. And he's definitely going to have other clubs' attention. So Setterfield to the Giants. North Melbourne hold pick 12. Now, with pick 12, I expect the Kangaroos select a player called Griffin Logue. After an unsuccessful bid for Setterfield, the Kangaroos could turn their attention to Logue. He's arguably the best defender in this year's draft. Fantastic endurance runner for a 194cm defender, and he reads the ball incredibly well. He's agile and intercepts marks well. Not many bad things to say about Lowe here. He played 8 senior waffle games for the Swan Districts in 2016, where he averaged 14.5 disposals and 3.8 marks in defence. That's pretty good. Logue appears to be a good selection for the Kangaroos, considering they've lost defenders like Ferrito, McKenzie, Tippett. They've all gone. So down back there a bit light on, and I reckon Logue, even though young, he could be a nice fit. He's not really got the size of a key defender, but if he puts on a bit of muscle, he's certainly going to be a force down there, so he could be one to look out for. The West Coast Eagles hold pick 13, and with that selection, I've got them taking Oliver Florent. Again, sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. What type of player is Florent? Well, he's an ambidextrous type of player. The first half of the season he spent playing across half forward, and then late in the season he was thrown into the midfield and he flourished. He played extremely well in the midfield. Florent has blistering pace to burn off his opponents and find space. but what caught the eye of many was his performance in the All-Star game, where Florent gathered 29 disposals and 7 clearances. During the TAC Cup, he averaged 19.8 disposals. I reckon Florent would be an excellent choice for the West Coast Eagles. He would interject a bit of pace around the ground, which is something I think they're lacking. They've got a lot of hard nuts like Shuey, Prittis, Gaff. He's got a bit of pace, but Florent would just add a bit more, which is something I really think the Eagles need. So, Florent to the Eagles. The Giants hold pick 14. Now, pick 14 was once the Adelaide Crows, and they would make a bid for Harry Perryman. However, the Giants would match that bid. What type of player is Perryman? Well, he's incredibly versatile, and he was touted as the best pure footballer in this year's draft. He's demonstrated his flexibility across half-back and half-forward, and he's incredibly skilled and pure either by hand or foot. He's got amazing work rate, and he's just flexible, either half-back, midfield, or forward line. Scouts say they see a lot of the same attributes as Luke Hodge with his competitiveness, hardness, and dominance in the 101s, and the fact that he loves to do the little things to impact a game. Perryman could go higher than 14, but I've seen him slipping down a bit, but I could be wrong with this one. But yep, Perryman to the Giants, and again, another academy player. Their bid's been matched, so bad luck Adelaide. Speaking of Adelaide, they hold pick number 15. And with that pick, I've got them selecting Daniel Venables. After a failed bid for Perryman, the Crows could select Venables with this selection. However, it has been a frustrating year for Venables, who suffered injuries throughout the year and struggled to get on the park. But when he is fit and healthy, Venables is an attacking, explosive midfielder who can push up forward and hit the scoreboard. He's got a lot of qualities that will help him make it at this level, like winning the contested ball, taking a good overhead mark, and good goal sense. That's pretty much what you need. And he's got clean disposals. He averaged 12.6 disposals during the TAC Cup and during the National Championships. Clubs could be very wary of his injuries, though, which make him slip down the order. But no, I reckon Adelaide could use Venables. I don't know who to compare him to, but yeah, Venables to Adelaide. Port Adelaide hold pick 16, and with the selection, I've got them selecting Jai Simpkin. Now, Simpkin only played one TAC Cup game during this year. However, he made a massive impact during that game, kicking 4.3 goals and having 18 disposals. However, a broken leg would force him to miss the remainder of the season, but many considered him to have shown enough to be an intelligent footballer and make it at the AFL level. Simpkin has a good kick, a good pace around the field, and a great set of hands. It's just up to the clubs if they want to take the risk on his broken leg, which could see him slip down to 16, but yeah, Simpkin could help Port Adelaide here, a bit like Angus Monfries. Since he's coming towards the end of his career, he could slip in and just take his role. Pick 17 goes to the Brisbane Lions, and I've got them selecting Todd Marshall. The big 198cm forward is on his way to the Lions, ladies and gentlemen, where he's going to be joining Josh Schache and Eric Hipwood to form a dangerous young forward line. He is a project player, but he's got good size and plenty of potential. He is strong on the lead, he's got a great mark, and he's a good shot for goal. He hasn't really taken a game by the scruff of the neck like you like a good forward to. He hasn't really put a stamp on the game. And when he goes missing, he really goes missing. You'll rarely see him if he's not on during a game. He kicked 22 goals in 11 games in the TAC Cup, so Brisbane have got a bit to work with there. If you put him in with Schache and Hipwood, look out for the future because those three could become extremely dangerous. Pick 18 is held by Port Adelaide, and I've got them selecting Jordan Galuki. Galuki is an attacking midfielder who loves to impact the stoppages, get forward and kick a goal. He's got great speed, can break the lines, as proven throughout the season where he averaged 20 disposals per game and kicked 14 goals during the TAC Cup. Clubs would be attracted to Galuki's versatility and ability to play across half forward and rotate through the midfield, but again, There's a lot of players I've got above him, but he could go up 1 or 2 spots, but I wouldn't expect him to go any higher than 18. Maybe he could go up to 16 and come down to 20, but not that much. So, Galuki to Port Adelaide. Pick 19 is held by the reigning premiers, the Western Bulldogs, and I've got them selecting a player by the name of Josh Rotham. I could see the Bulldogs selecting Rotham a bit earlier than expected, just to help cover their defense's depth, which took an absolute beating this year. Now, Rotham is almost your ideal modern-day defender. He can play either tall, small, but however, it is his intercept marking that's the strongest asset of his game. He reads the ball incredibly well and has a strong overhead mark. Rotham averaged 21.2 disposals from the 10 games he played in the reserves and the Colts for West Perth, and he could end up being rotated through the midfield from time to time if he improves his endurance and fitness. So I've got Rotham going to the Bulldogs just to help cover that defensive end. Pick 20 goes to the Sydney Swans, and I've got them selecting Shai Bolton. Now, Shai Bolton's talent is undeniable, and he would add X factor into the Swans lineup. This Western Australian small forward is an excitement machine, ladies and gentlemen. He stands up during the big games, and he's extremely quick. He loves to chase and tackle the opponents and put pressure on them. Bolton can pretty much do it all. He jumps for high marks, he can swoop on the loose ball, and he loves to kick a goal. During the All-Star game, Bolton had 16 disposals, 7 inside 50s, and kicked a goal. If there was something Bolton could work on, it would be his defensive side of the game and becoming a bit more consistent. He seems to go missing during the games, and he doesn't really put that much defense on apart from his tackling. He doesn't line up, find his man, whatnot. But Bolton is an excitement machine, and I'm sure the Swans would love to have him up there in Sydney. Pick 21 is going to the Bombers, ladies and gentlemen, and I've got them selecting Dylan Clark. Clark is a big-bodied midfielder with natural abilities to find the footy. He excels at the stoppages, constantly winning first use of the ball. During the DAC Cup, Clark averaged 29.5 disposals and 7.9 tackles. That's exceptional for a midfielder. During the National Championships, Clark averaged 24.7 disposals. However, Clark's kick is not the prettiest. It can be pretty ugly at times. However, his running power, both offensively and defensively, is a testament to his work rate and attitude. That's what scouts like to see. They love to see attitude and work rate. Skills they can help define and get better, but they can't help define attitude and work rate. And I reckon he would fit very well down there at Bomberland. Be excited, Bombers fans. Pick 22 is held by the Brisbane Lions, and I've got them selecting Alex Witherden. Now, Witherden is a difficult one to pinpoint. After a broken leg early in the season, ended his entire season for 2016. However, what we do know is, Witherden is a 189cm tall defender, and he is a prolific ball winner across half-back. Witherden also reads the ball, and he likes to set up the play very well. He is a decent lockdown defender and can intercept the ball. Despite his long-term injury, I reckon Witherden could be a good selection for the Lions here to help with their depleted defense after the retirement of veteran defender Daniel Merritt. They don't really have much senior, or they don't have any senior players down there. So Witherden could be a nice one to add to their young defense. Pick 23 is also held by the Brisbane Lions, and I've got them selecting Brad Shear. Much to Brisbane's delight, I don't have Gold Coast matching the bid for Shear. He's a big-bodied midfielder who dominates at the stoppages and thrives on the contested side of the ball. He gets first possession of the ball and disposes of it extremely cleanly. Yeah, he also has the ability to go forward and hit the scoreboard. And Shear is a tackling machine. If I have one knock on Shear's game, it's that he lacks a bit of pace on the outside. And outside run, he doesn't really have much. But an inside midfielder, big body, that could help the Lions there, considering they have a youngish midfield. Not really, but he could help out there. He played 7 senior games for the Gold Coast Neefle team last season, where he averaged 18 disposals per game. He's a nice player, but he's not going to be a standout gun player. But yeah, I've got Shear to Brisbane, but don't expect to see him getting 25, 30 possessions each game, because that's not what he does. He does the hard, inside, nitty stuff. The 1%ers, that's what he's best known for. But yeah, Brisbane, you've got yourself a nice player here. Pick 24 is going to St Kilda, and I've got them selecting Sam Powell-Pepper. What a name that is. What type of player is he? He's a contested ball-winning machine, and he wins plenty of clearances. He has plenty of upside and potential, and he loves to tuck the ball under his arm and run, which St Kilda have a lot of, so he'll add nicely there. He doesn't look like a natural footballer, and he's not as clean with his disposals. However, as I said before, that's fine. People can help him. The people at the club can help him with his disposals, as well as he's willing to learn, which he's got a good attitude, so that's good there. However, he created senior opportunities for the Colts and reserves, where he averaged 20.8 disposals and kicked 15 goals from 11 games. So a nice play here for the Saints. Again, 24's around the mark where I've got him going. He could go, I don't think he'll go past 24, but he could slip down maybe the late 20s, but good pick here for the Saints. He'll be a nice addition to their nice crop of young talent. Pick 25 goes to Geelong, and I've got them selecting a young man called Josh Battle. Now, having lost forwards Kirsten, Vardy and Clark, let's face it, Geelong need another forward to help out Tom Hawkins down there. Battle could be their man. After a season where he kicked 24 goals from 8 games in the TAC Cup, Battle has emerged as one of the better forwards in this year's draft. Yes, he's got a great shot for goal, and he can take a great mark. However, Battle's biggest strength is his endurance running. Not many 192-centimetre forwards can run like Battle does. As well as kicking 24 goals, Battle averaged 13.2 disposals and 4.9 marks per game during the TAC Cup. So, Battle, you're going to Geelong, and hopefully you can help out Tom Hawkins, as he's the only vocal point down there. Battle, welcome to the Geelong Football Club. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's my mock draft of the top 25 picks and where I think they'll be heading. As usual, please give me your feedback. Let me know how you think how I went on my mock draft, whether I got it right, got some wrong. Feel free to let me know. This has been great fun. I've enjoyed doing it. So hopefully you enjoy listening, and please give me your feedback. Always open to your feedback, either positive or negative. Doesn't bother me. And enjoy listening to this week's podcast.